Psst, hey. Who wants some Wang? Shadow Warrior is a 1997 3D Realms kick-ass karate chop and bit of build engine bang bang. It doesn't house as much monster variety as Blood or Duke, but it makes up for this by having some insanely well-crafted beasts, which becomes immediately apparent by flipping open the source code and going, what the hell does that do? Or by, playing the game. Seriously though, give the source code a good peek. There are some interesting finds, and if you doubt the amount of work put into this game, open the section on rabbits. Lines and lines of code dedicated to bunnies bangin'. Lovely stuff. Now, I've played Shadow Warrior the least out of the big build engine 3. And the only reason for this is I came to it last and just didn't feel it. I tried it a couple of times but didn't get any deeper than the first few levels. I've since tried to remedy this with some hardcore replaying and aching my brain over the code, so the making of this video has been an interesting voyage of discovery. But as such, not knowing this game intimately, this little green grasshopper is not 100% confident in his assessments of monsters and their behaviors. But damn it, I've tried my best and had great fun putting this together. If something seems sus or I've missed anything worth noting, lay a hot dollop in the comments section below. This series is called Understanding After All. I wish to increase my own understanding of games just as much as anyone. Now, enough piss farting around, let's rip open a bag of fortune cookies and dive in. See, I'd stick a bit of Nick Cage here, but Civvy already beat me to it. Six years ago? Jesus. But The Wicker Man is an apt cutaway. When you find yourself surrounded by these buzzin' bastards, you're likely to go full vampire's kiss out of frustration.
I never misspelled anything!
Found most notably amidst the whispering peaks of episode 1's denouement, these pests will zip around as a big beastly cloud and continually dive in, delivering nasty little stings, draining your health in a most annoying way. However, due to their very low health, if you can get them clustered together, 'tis you who'll be doing the stingin'. They're very fast and erratic, and if you try to fire on them directly, you'll likely just drain your precious ammo. As such, try and get them grouped together to whack them as a package deal. If you get the Hornets gathered in a corridor, they won't be able to zoom about nearly as much, neutering one of their best weapons. From here, you can go crazy with some shurikens, which are super fast, and they'll cut them down once they're penned in. But, this is a build engine game. Why would we do that when we could blow stuff up? Once gathered, let loose a nice chunky missile and the ensuing blast damage will vaporize them. Or if you're feeling ballsy, go at them with the katana. Chop chop. These little dudes are introduced in the first level, and though they look chill from dry land, once you're in their realm, you'll want to move fast to avoid their wicked teeths. I couldn't find a direct reference to koi in the code, and instead found listings for eels. So I can only assume that stuff got changed during development. In damage types, they're listed as having an electric attack, which makes sense for a slippery eel. This attack would have done damage over a wide area, 3,400 map units, so an entire underwater area essentially. Pretty cool, but clearly this did not make its way into the final game. Ah well, koi aren't the strongest foes, possessing 40 health, but they travel in nasty schools which can strip you of flesh if you're not a speedy swimmer. Bombing them from dry land is a good idea, as the splash damage will cook them good and proper, but trying to bulletize them can take a while as they're smooth movers. The concentrated spray of the riot gun is also good for some underwater skeet shooting, if you wait for them to present a direct target when they charge. Accursed Heads are cheeky little noggins, stripped of their skin which will hide in wait and pop up when you least expect it to explode or spew forth a random trap. Caltrops, gas bombs, flash bombs, it's a roll of the dice with what you'll get, but chances are good that it'll be bad. The Serpent God boss will summon forth a big ring of these nasty red boys to surround it when you start doing damage to the old snake in the grass. As will be the advice when we get to the Serpent God, keep your distance and take these demonic defenses out from afar. If you're close enough to them, they'll shoot at you and explode. Not very nice at all. This ring of heads is quite noticeable, but the trap variety are really sneakily hidden. You can see just the top of the head sticking up out of the ground, if you know where to look. So you can anticipate the attack and tease it into triggering to then wait out or leap over the trap, or blow them up from a distance for a more explosive engagement. What's he do, nibble your bum? The rabbits in Shadow Warrior will happily while away the hours, frolicking, feasting, and sinking the pink. But if you come across this little fellow in an ancient Chinese secret, he'll hit you hard and fast between the eyes with a Monty Python reference you possibly didn't see coming. He's not quite as vicious as the referenced beast of Kearbanog, but he'll zoom about and lay constant fast nibbles on ya, making you reach for the band-aids in no time. He's a piece of cake though, as you can easily just stand atop the slight elevation above his cave entrance and hit him with whatever you like. If you blow up the barrel in his cave, you'll be treated to some missiles and fortune cookies. Very nice. Nasty old Zilla has a giant cavalcade of pew-pewing bastards at his disposal, with different coloured uniforms to signify exactly how they'll fuck you up if you relax for just one solitary second. You've got your brown ones, grey ones, red ones, orange ones, green ones, which are wreathed in shadows, and lady ones. Let's have a peek. The basic bitch of Zilla's army, these dudes will be the first bad guys encountered in the game, as a pouch of them will come sailing through the window of your dojo as soon as the game commences. They're equipped with an Uzi, can throw shurikens, and have a movement set just about as advanced as the player. They'll duck, crawl, jump, swim, quite the Renaissance prick. If they fail to kill low Wang, even if you just manage to slip out of a brief scuffle, they'll suck on their Uzis and explode their heads. Clearly, the dishonor is just too much. So if you evade attacks quite well, these dudes will be more than happy to take themselves out for you. Very considerate. They'll sometimes drop shurikens, which is nice. What with being at the lowest rung of the ninja ladder, these weak boys are packing 40 health, and as such will go down from a single katana stroke. As you start the game with sword in hand, slicing these invaders in one hit makes Lo Wang feel immediately powerful and badass. Excellent bit of design. Pressing on, it's not long before more advanced ninjas come out to play. These red guys will still pop you with an Uzi, but they'll also occasionally shoot a rocket right at your face, which can be somewhat inconvenient. They also have much more health, 160, which is the base health for all other coloured ninja varieties going forward. Not too much more to say about them, except good thing they're coloured red to highlight their high level of danger. Use corners and cover well when you see one, and when he starts blasting off, reply in kind with your own armaments. What could be more evil than the red guys? Well, orange ones apparently. These guys sport missiles too, but they have a heat-seeking card, which means their projectiles are trickier to dodge. If you see something shoot out of their tits, trouble's brewing. Use cover well and you should be all good. Easier said than done though, as you'll likely be getting attacked by 10 other bad guys at the same time during any one battle. The missile launcher is powerful, no doubt about it, but the grenade launcher is an absolute beast. And now you're not the only dude running around with one stuffed in his yoga pants. Grey ninjas are the kings of chaos. Missiles, even seeking ones, travel in a straight line, generally speaking, making them easy enough to mentally place in the game space. Grenades, though, which bounce around and have an evil amount of splash damage, nasty. And much like other tossy bang-bang monsters like ogres or even blood cultists, these guys can be insanely accurate with their attacks. Kill these guys quick or try to get the grenades to work to your advantage, if at all possible. When killed, these grey boys will do an occasional grenade drop, thank you kindly. These mysterious blokes have actually got green uniforms, but it's only noticeable when they die and the shadow effect stops. Interesting. They're easily the cream of the ninja crop, and they're so exceptionally good at getting the jump on an uninitiated player, it's mind-boggling. Probably the nastiest weapon they have is their flash bomb because, as Civvy said, once that goes off and you're blinded, you may as well reload because you're royally screwed. Besides the flash, they've got the usual bullets and 2 of the fire attacks that normally spew from the Guardian head. Fireballs and great whomping gouts of flame. Not sure where a shadow ninja is and you're somehow still alive? Just listen for the shtum 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 of fire. You'll find him soon enough. Or he'll find you. But let's not inflate them too much. They still have just 160 health like other non-brown ninjas. Their attacks are just super powerful is all. This means that they can quite easily blow themselves up with their magic attacks if they're in a tight space like in the first level. Get him close to a wall, let him fire, and then admire the bloody splat where he used to be. Over distance though, they're monstrous and will require a scorched earth policy. Female warriors, female ninjas. I know the name is just a literal description like evil ninja, but I can't see female without thinking of a great big stinking neckbeard tip in his fedora. Ah well. This addition to the enemy roster is pretty interesting, and not just because of the eyebrow-raising noises they make. They shoot crossbow bolts at a fair lick, which can strip your health down if you're mesmerized by their dangerous beauty. And they'll lob sticky bombs with absolute abandon. In my experience, the bombs don't carry the same threat as, say, the grenades from Grey Ninjas, as they usually get thrown way over Lo Wang's head to lodge halfway up a wall, where I'll never run into them. That's not to say the bombs aren't dangerous. If the bombs are on the ground, they can be an absolute nightmare and they'll melt you down in the blink of an eye. But if you're playing aggressively, these exquisite ninjets won't get a chance to raise either of their weapons before being exploded. They're a lot weaker than non-brown ninjas and give themselves away with ear-splitting cries of "Hiya!", which isn't very ninja, but it's very funny, so it's a thumbs up from me. When they die, they fall in an extremely awkward position with their legs akimbo, which is certainly a thing. Kinda wish they were more powerful though, so that when you hear that "Hiya!", you're like, oh shit, here comes another one, time to get ready, instead of lol. I'm sure people have modded them to make them better and more powerful. I'm sure people have modded them to do all sorts of things. Now, these guys I remember really well from my first attempt at Shadow Warrior many moons ago. I thought they were fun then, and I still do. These chained green ghouls heave around a big box of explosives which are in a constant state of fizzy fizz. When they lock onto you as a viable target, they'll start jogging at you, holding their box over their head. If they get close enough, they'll explode, seriously putting a crimp in your day. As a nasty walking bag of boom, these guys have a really solid amount of health, which feels perfect. They aren't an instant takedown, and they don't suck ammo quite as much as they could if the developers were cruel. Instead, 120 feels just right. Even if you're well armored and healthed up, one of these dudes will take a huge chunk out of low Wang, so take him out from a distance and prioritize him, as you might be engaging someone else and they'll pop you from the back. I've been able to sentry drone these guys to varying degrees of success, but I'm not sure if that's a solid strat. Instead, I'd suggest you chop them down with a ranged attack, quick as a bee. If you use explosives, they won't leave a corpse behind, which is good, because if they have a body, a Coolie Ghost will likely rise from it to slap you in the back of the head. A fairly weak floaty boy, ghosts will often rise from Coolie corpses and will get you all turned around as they phase in and out of the physical plane, throwing yucky red projectiles at you, which are actually quite damaging. Where you can, stop them from spawning by jibbing the initial Coolie. Or if they already exist in a level, a single missile or a spray of bullets will suffice. They serve as a fairly wicked distraction/nuisance enemy for when facing other baddies. But I turn to them straight away in a conflict and wipe them out first so they don't get in the way. Speaking of Coolie Ghosts, I made an interesting discovery. In the source code, there are many references and data for a skeleton priest. According to some forums, it's posited that the Coolie Ghosts would have come from these bony bros instead of the Coolies. For whatever reason, it was shelved, and the ghost was applied to the Coolie instead. Some folks have been able to put the priest into user-made maps with additional art and tinkering, and yeah, it's pretty heckin' awesome. If anyone knows any more on this subject, please let me know in the comments, cause I've come over all curious and invested in this priest, skeletal, samurai monster and wanna know more. Thanks. It's on like Donkey Kong. These big hairy bros want to rip off your coconuts and stuff your banana down your throat, so don't let them do that. Rippers are smooth movers and pose quite the threat, especially in the natural environments where they thrive. They'll beat their chest, they'll charge at you and leap over great distances, and they'll rip out your heart to show it to you if they get the better of you. Best way of dealing with these lads is to either take up an elevated position with the missile launcher or let loose with the alt fire on the shotgun. Careful though. If you opt for filling their breast meat with buckshot, make sure you have a clean avenue of retreat in case your first salvo doesn't do the trick. If you get backed up into a corner and you're reloading, things may go south real quick. I really love these thick, primate, pinky demon type dudes. They're fairly uncomplicated in their attacks, but there's such a depth in their various behaviors that I can't help but nod my head appreciatively. They like to crop up in places where the urban areas dissolve to make way for temples and the like, which handily is some of my favorite parts of the game. So don't be a fool and blunder into a cave of these guys without a backup plan and/or balls of steel. Rippers come in a normal grey variety and a bigger, tougher brown variety, which gets called Momma Rippers. Despite the fact that they don't give birth to babbies or any other such reproductive ridiculousness, nor do they sport a big old pair of gorilla jugs, thank goodness. But yes, they're big, brown, and beastly. I find their chunky bodies are perfect candidates for a slew of missiles if you have some to spare, and don't let them get too close if you know what's good for you. Unless you're really good with dodging and using the katana, as it only takes a few good swipes to take down the grey variety. You'll be dodging a lot longer if you try and chop up a brown ripper though, so good luck. When killed, mummas will sometimes drop a beating heart, which can be used to summon a ghostly low Wang, which is awesome. These adolescent rippers are much more lithe and make me think of the enforcers from Duke 3D, which sport chain guns, also called rippers. These little blokes will hang onto walls and zoom about, closing distances pretty quickly. Luckily, they're fairly weak, as they come in sizable packs. From a distance, they'll plop out a green projectile, again, rather like the enforcers, which, while annoying, doesn't do much damage. As with big rippers, these guys come in two varieties, grey and brown. The tougher brown ones have noticeable tiger stripes on their bodies, which is a really nice bit of detailing. And as you can imagine, they take a lot longer to go down. Nice. These dudes are really cool. I love them. Called Goros internally, these green demons will stomp around shooting magic fireballs from their eyes, which can really toast your buns. But it's their swords you need to watch out for. Each slice does about 20 to 40 damage and the attack cycle is quick. So if you're looking to go all Kill Bill, make sure you dodge really well. When killed, guardians will sometimes leave behind their severed head, which low Wang can pick up to use as a grisly weapon. This is probably my favorite weapon weapon in the game because it's so creative and gory. It's the sort of thing I'd imagine Caleb doing in Blood, poking his fingers into a magic head to make it do different attacks. Brilliant. These guys become more common as the game progresses, so you'll have lots of opportunities to try out different strats on them. But the one I favor is grenades or missiles straight to the face. First big boss time. This big red slippery monster is half man, half snake, and all bastard. He's got 4 big arms, each cradling a nasty-ass blade that'll slice you up big time. He'll shoot out twin green balls of magic. And once you start bitching him up, he'll summon a ring of accursed heads as a protective shield. As a boss, he's super easy. Just circle strafe and keep laying on the missiles, staying away from the circle of heads and the green magic balls. Once down to around half health, Snake Boy will give up and teleport away the big yellow belly. You is victorious. What a way to end a shareware teaser. Very nice. However, in the full game, Wang gets his satisfaction when facing the Serpent God again later on. This time, the belly-crawling bitch has nowhere to run. As is indicated by nukes being found near Serpent God confrontations, it's always wise to pop off a mushroom cloud to soften him up, and then dance around, slipping out discreet missiles, grenades, or railgun shots. If you take your time and make the most of your cover, you'll be home and dry. You ugly, scary snake shitface. These lesser versions of the Serpent God appear throughout the second episode. And though they still pack a punch, they're not equipped with the circle of accursed heads, so you don't have to be so careful about how close you get to the big red twit. Although having said that, their swords will cut you down before you know it, so watch out. And their magic balls will make your eyes water, so jam a few missiles where the sun shines not and rip them open like a bag of prawn crackers. Big boss time, number 2. Big Chungus here packs some serious health and some seriously serious attacks. He'll clap his hands, summoning accursed heads. He'll stomp the ground, sending out a devastating quake. He'll lift his leg to let loose a wild spray of fire magic like the Shadow Ninja. And he'll leave cheeky squeakers in his wake as he walks around, which is very rude. Big Boy's arena is purpose-built for taking him down. Keep traveling from column to column, firing at Mr. Sumo each time you're exposed. Don't linger too long, as even his SBDs will find you in your hiding spot. Apply a nuke to his ample bosoms if you've got one to take him down a peg, and then keep chipping away with missiles, or the heavy weapon of your choice. This chunky wide boy is huge, which means he has huge guts, which means he cuts some mighty big farts. So stay away from his corpse when he dies, as a deadly air biscuit will issue forth from his Hershey highway, making Wang gag. Gross, dude. As with the Serpent God, there are lesser versions of the Sumo too, and they'll crop up as the game gets harder and harder. You face a pair of the buggers at the end of the airport level, doing a bit of a Bruiser Brothers deal, which is cool. In my experience, they don't stomp and shoot out the wild crisscross of flames like Big Boy, but they'll deliver a few different hand clap attacks, one summoning an accursed head which will explode in your face, and another that will set you on fire for a second or two. They aren't especially tough, but you'll need to get good at ducking in and out of corners to knock them down, or even better, put them to bed with a nuke if you've got one. I personally like to go to town with the secondary attack on the shotgun and send blasts at them, ducking around the corner, or passing them some discreet grenades bounced off the walls. But you do you. Proper big boss time. Zilla's awesome. I love his fight, and a lot of it's due to how dynamic his arena is. Once you step out into the fight zone, Zilla appears and the floor starts to seesaw back and forth, lending a further layer of difficulty to the combat. Not only do you have to avoid Zilla's attacks and lay damage on him, but you also have to make sure you don't fall to your death in the lava below. So, Zilla. He's not too hard. In fact, if you're confident on the moving floor, he's downright easy. He's encased in a samurai mech suit, which is totally fucking rock and roll, by the way. Love it. And he shoots out constant streams of rockets, sprays of bullets, and railgun blasts. My key takeaway is, use the seesawing floor to help with popping tracking rockets if you can. Don't let up in your attacks, and use all the tricks in your ninja bag, especially the portable medkit and the smoke bomb. Take him out however you like. Missiles, railgun. I wouldn't recommend grenades unless you're really good with them as the floor moves around. Or you can be a true ninja and go in for a close kill with the help of a smoke bomb. Just be careful of his death explosion. Personally, I enjoyed double teaming him with a ghostly Wang. With both of us railgunning his ass, he went down in no time. That's not to say he's not a satisfying boss. Quite the contrary. I think he's one of the best bosses in the big Build Engine 3. I have this nagging mandala memory of seeing someone fight him in like a video or something, and he would rocket back and forth in his suit using boosters and dropping grenades. But most likely I'm thinking of another game. Possibly Strife? But yes, a most satisfying end to a very enjoyable game. I know, there's other things like pew-pew turrets and wall decorations that spew fireballs, but I don't really want to get tangled up talking about malignant architecture, which is what the turrets are essentially. Sectors with a voxel barrel attached. Turrets seem immune to everything except explosives, and the wall decorations just need to be avoided. Easy. Bucket and spade in hand, dig deeper if you wish. So, Shadow Warrior. First time playing through, and I've got to say I had a really good time. In terms of sheer creativity and environments that speak to my interests, temples and stuff, I'd probably place it a little higher than Duke, but below Blood, because Blood's the top tier shit for me. But I'll definitely revisit SW and even have a go at the additional episodes someday. Not that they add a huge amount of stuff, a few cosmetic reskins of enemies and a new boss in Twin Dragon, which is cool, but I think that's enough karate chops and sumo farts for one day. Time to unwind with a nice relaxing bath. Nani? Thanks for watching.
Bonsai! Hey, you.